Hello and welcome everyone, it is me the lover, also on support to do this, back for you with another Morphtronic deck profile. And this time we are journeying back in time to 2010 because this is an Edison format list. Shoutouts to Wengatang in the comments. He asked if there was a chance I would make this, and if there is another way to play Morphtronics, you might know. I'm up for that. I'm up for that. So yeah, let's take a quick look at the stack list, run down some card choices, discuss a bit what went into this, and then I'll show you some two quick games and give you some final thoughts afterwards. Starting the main deck is just an Edison format staple in Gorth, the Emissary of Darkness. Moving into less stapley cards, I guess. 2 Machina Fortress. This is just a very neat power card to have because it either forces a response for very little investment, or it's able to, get some pressure going, and if it gets removed, still take some cards out of the opponent, which is very nice. 2 Cyber Dragon, just additional, board presence pressure, and some additional synchro enabling with the tuners we are playing. In terms of level 4s, I went for a 2-2-2 split. You can definitely, if you have like preferences in terms of your level 4s, play like a 3-3. But I went 2-2-2. Slinging is here for removal, since in attack position you contribute another Morphtronic you control and destroy a card on the field. Very nice in such a resource-oriented, definitely a bit slower format that is Edison. 2 Boomboxen just here for some additional pressure, because the double attacking is quite nice on empty board states. And also having, additional level 4s that you can equip double tools to is really sick, because Boomboxen being able to blank a Raikou while equipped with double tools and then still punch directly is quite nice. 2 Radions here, the biggest normal summon of the deck. I guess, yeah, he's cool. Just helps boost your Morphtronics that bit more. And just enables you to punch over monsters you usually wouldn't be. Sangan is here just, because he's an incredibly powerful generic search option, and also because he can grab every Morphtronic, even till this day, because there is no Morphtronic with more than 1500 base attack points. 3 Scopen, rather no-brainer. In attack position once per turn, you can special summon a level 4 Morphtronic from your hand, easily enabling level 7 Synchro plays, which there is a couple. Yeah, a couple. Only a couple. In defense position, this is a level 4 tuner, which is rather nice. Gives you some more level 8 access, besides, Sidra and any of the 3 tuners. 3 Remotens was initially on 2, went up to 3, because it felt right. Just having 2 Remoten, I felt like I wasn't seeing it nearly enough, because Remoten is an incredibly cool card, because the attack position effect enables you to kind of toolbox through your level 4 Morphtronics, as you are able to banish a Morphtronic from the grave and then add 1 from deck to hand with the same level, easily giving you, options to banish a Boomboxen from a previous turn to grab Slingen if you need removal, or grab a Radion if you just need a big guy that can punch really hard, which is kind of nice. So yeah, definitely looking to play 3 Remoten in this deck. And then the star of the show, as usual, Morphtronic Saffron, because 1 attack position, once per turn you can roll a 6-sided die, reveal that many cards from the top of your deck, and then special summon a level 4 or lower Morphtronic from those. What holds him a bit back in this day and age is the lack of Morphtronics, since we are only on the 3rd support wave for this deck. With RGBT, Raging Battle, being the latest releases for the deck. And we are stopping just before Shining Darkness. But yeah, Saffron's still probably the best main deck Morphtronic, even in this day and age. Just giving you that additional board presence is really sick. Pulling a Slingen off him gives you already a pop if you tribute the Saffron, which is kind of nice. So that is, of course, amazing. The 1-1-for-1 here to, give additional access to Saffron. Heavy Storm is here just as a generic blowout. 2 Junk Box for extensions and some recovery. Giant Trunade as another blowout. 2 Morphtronic Accelerator for some, very nice even 0 spot removal. can get you like some additional normal summons you'd have in hand back into the deck and, you know, fix your hand a bit, because this returns a Morphtronic monster from hand to deck, destroys a card on the field, and then draws you a card. Very nice, even 0. I'd like to see it. 3 Upstart Goblin. Playing 37 cards is very nice when your deck is dependent on reveals, and yeah, that's about it. The deck really doesn't care about like the additional life points, because if you kill your opponent, you kill your opponent. But generally having, you know, the upstarts in here is very nice. You can definitely give like traps or maybe more staples, equips in these slots a chance. But I found 37 cards to be like a very nice deck size for Morphtronics. Playing the 1 MST for additional back row removal. In terms of equip spells, a very like slim lineup, 3 double tools, 3 repair units. Double tools, just a very like neat generic boost for your level 4 or level 4 machine Morphtronics and the Power Tool Dragon. Gives it 1000 attack during your turn, and if it attacks, the attack target has its effects negated during that battle phase. And during the opponent's turn, the opponent can only attack the equipped monster, and someone that dares to battle the equipped monster gets destroyed at end of damage step. Double tools, just a very nice combination with Boomboxen or Slingen to like get over Raikou, Super Nimble Mega Hamster, or maybe even Snowman Eater, which just a very prevalent flips in general Edison play. Also just neat with Power Tool Dragon, turning him 3300. 3 Reaper unit here, just as an archetype of Premature Burial. You discard a Morphtronic, then target a Morphtronic Engrave, and special summon the selected target. Very nice interaction with this is that you can, you know, pitch a Morphtronic for cost and then target the same Morphtronic, but you do need a Morphtronic Engrave before that. Currently in the main deck, 2 Royal Decree. This deck doesn't really have space for traps, and initially these last 2 spots were Torrential and Solemn Judgment. You can definitely go Solemn Torrential here in these last spots, or just fill this with like power one-off traps. Mirror Force could also be a good pick here. But I found Royal Decree to be a very solid choice, as the deck really doesn't need traps, you know, you just do your thing, yeah, you just don't want your opponent to stop you from doing your thing. So Royal Decree kind of works very well with that. Third one on the side, if you like play maybe against a very trap-heavy deck, played against Machina Gadgets, that might be like a deck where you could side these in, because Royal Oppression just... it hurts. Getting Oppression really, really freaking hurts. In terms of extra deck, playing the, I guess, mandatory Chimeratic Fortress Dragon. Mistworm as a generic 9 that is able to bounce a lot of cards when it's summoned, which is nice. Colossal Fighter, just a big guy that recovers itself. Thought Ruler Archfiend, just as an 8 that isn't Stardust and isn't Colossal Fighter, but also isn't RDA, because RDA rarely comes up. Thought Ruler is kind of neat. You can also play Red Dragon here. I don't know. The 1 Black Rose for a board wipe. Skipped Stardust, by the way. Omega lol. Stardust here just as, I guess, you know, the actual star of the show. Just an amazing card at this point in time. Being able to blank destruction effects. Really powerful ability. You should be playing this. Same for Black Rose. Just being able to reset the board. Very nice. Went up to 3 Power Tool Dragons yesterday evening. You can probably play 2. I went up to 3 because Dire was rude and bottomless 2 of those. And afterwards I was left with no level 7 play outside of Black Rose Dragon. Level 7 is just a comfort level for the deck, but in Edison times there just really isn't a lot of like good level 7 options. I think the next best option, let me pull it up here, is Psychic Life Trancer, which is neat because it's a generic 2400 body, but in general you'd be better off just making another power tool. Priorata Goyo Guardian Brionac here for, you know, format staples. Magical Android is a very nice level 5 you can easily make if you Self-Fawn into Scopen and summon the Scopen Defense, which is the same reason why Catastor is great in this deck, because Self-Fawn summoning Scopen Defense also enables Catastor. Playing 2 Armory Arm just because I had the space. You can probably play like 1 Armory Arm less, I guess, but in general I think 2 Armory Arm is perfectly serviceable, since the extra deck isn't too tight once you add like Mistworm, Colossal Fighter, Stardust, Black Rose, Goyo, Brio, and Catastor, and like 2 or 3 Power Tool Dragons depending on what you like. Extra deck space really isn't tight for this, as you are mostly limited to, you know, either generic synchros or like the one archetypal that you have. In terms of side deck, these are just some options I've experimented with. Caius is neat, but not necessarily in this deck. He's okay, still like a very good house you can just drop on the board and maybe win a game. But nothing, you know, too huge. Same goes for the brain control. Otherwise, Book of Moons, of course, an insane card in this format. Limiter Removal and United We Stand are just very good options if you want to kill your opponent that much harder. In terms of traps, I've mentioned this before. You can experiment with, you know, playing no upstart and play like more main deck traps for that, like Phoenix Wing, Wind Blast, Torrential Tribute, Solemn Judgment, maybe even Mirror Force. This really isn't like an actual side deck, by the way. I think this is just options I like experimented with and wanted to swap in and out. Light Imprisoning Mirror is a meta card. You cite this for the Light Swan matchup, but I wouldn't really depend on it as as one of your main Morphtronics is also a light and it also blanks Radion. So that's not great, but I guess it's a kind of necessary evil. But yeah, with the deck list out of the way, I think we'll look at 2 replays and then I'll catch you guys again and I'll give you guys some final thoughts. I guess, like, this is basically a match I played against Dyer yesterday. He was on X Sabers, so, you know, also not the most competitive Edison deck. But in general, I feel like this kind of shows a bit, you know, this kind of slow gameplay the format can have. And I think we might even see a small OTK in this one. As you can see, I started with a very, I guess, conservative set Radion pass. Radion being a 1900 body on the set is very strong. Tried to force out kind of a flip monster with the boombox and double tools there, which is very neat. Self-on summoning a level 4 tuner here, which enables Mistworm, bouncing the whole field, and from here on out, I don't have any interruptions to worry about. I Junkbox back the Boomboxen, I Repair Unit back the Southon, go for the Southon effect here. This is already game on board, but I try to dig for another tuner. So we just, you know, cycle more resources, go into combat. Of course, you know, respecting the Gauss, but going in for a very clean OTK. Which is like one of the point I'll probably highlight later. But the deck is just as, you know, it's very explosive, which even holds up in this format. But we'll move into that second game, and then I'll give you guys some more cohesive thoughts. And here we are, once again playing against those X Sabers. Opened to Royal Decree. This was, I guess, the time where I was still on main deck 3, which is why I think 2 is perfectly fine. Setting the Sangan here. Flipping the Royal Decree in end phase to turn off any funny business traps. Normal summoning Sling in here again, you know, going for the double tools to blank any form of flip effect monster. Getting in with a Sangan, but he is able to, I think he grabbed the Rescue Cat of a Sangan, which is very powerful, of course. Giant Trunates here before going into 2 Air Bellums. Special summon the Fall Troll, making Golems, being able to walk over our entire board. We are able to get the Sangan Search for Self on here, which is rather nice. Golems rips one of the Royal Decrees out of our hand, and here we need to really pray that those back row don't do a whole lot. Going for the first Self on here. I do get greedy, go for the second, try to find a tuner of these. I only find the third Self on, which, like, okay, is like kind of nice, I guess. But that third Self-on finally gets me into some tuners, and a Remoten is just the perfect one, which gets instantly Book of Moons. I didn't use the Remoten effect with priority here because I wanted Slingen in rotation to, you know, Junkbox that back. I didn't attack here to respect Mirror Force a bit. Summons Ragigura, adds back the Fall Troll, walks over the Self-on, but from here on out, we can rather easily close this one. We do have a Scopany on board, can Remoten, Repair Unit back the Slingen, go after the back row before committing for starters to kind of respect Solemn Judgment in that way. Since we haven't normal summoned, we can Remoten, banish Slingen, just add any level 4, make Power Tool. I tried to fish for Repair Unit there to, you know, more enable follow-up. To keep resources in rotation, because Remoten and Repair Unit in hand with a level 4 engrave are a power tool dragon on the follow-up, as you are able to normal summon Remoten. Or rather, you can repair unit, send Remoten, special the Remoten, and then Remoten banish the level 4, add another level 4, and then normal summon that level 4 for a level 7 play. So there is a few options for like grindability in this deck, as you are able to prepare follow-up turns very well with Remoten, which is why I am still to this day 100% convinced that Remoten is probably one of the most undervalued cards in every Morphtronic build. But we'll talk about that once we have the deck list in front of us again. And here we are again with the deck. In general, what are, I guess, my thoughts after playing Edison? Edison was a lot of fun. As someone who started playing the game around that time, but not like in a competitive landscape, more like on a schoolyard landscape, it was definitely fun to see, you know, what was good back then and kind of see what power output the decks had. I can only like, I guess, confirm every, you know, good thing people have said in the last few months about the Edison format. Just a very sick format all around with a lot of viable decks. You can definitely toy around with a lot. But back to Morphtronics specifically. As I've mentioned, after that first game, you still have a deck that is highly explosive. If this deck goes off, it goes off hard. This isn't even with, you know, cards like Limiter Removal and United We Stand in the main deck, which you can also choose to play. Again, I just like having, you know, the 3 Upstart Goblin in the main, but these could easily be Limiter Removal, United We Stand if you know you are going second and your opponent doesn't necessarily have enough tools to stop you. So yeah, just punching the opponent really hard works sometimes. Power to Dragons, of course, a very key card in that, either grabbing an extender or being able to, you know, punch really hard. And the searching and swarming you get out of Scopen, Remoten, and Salphorn is just absolutely amazing. I guess to kind of make this not as one-sided, to pretend this is the best deck of the format, this is, of course, just like in modern days, very inconsistent. You're reliant on dice rolls, seeing specific cards in specific combinations, which is, you know, not great. Most Edison decks have like very neat, like one card ways to get started, either being able to set like a super nimble Mega Hamster, or other, you know, very solid sets like a Raikou or something. But in contrary to that, you do have ways to answer that. As previously mentioned, you know, Double Tool C&D is able to blank flip effects, which you can equip to your Slingin, your Boomboxen. You might even be, you know, someone to run Morphtronic Videon. I think that is also a perfectly fine choice. I just went with Radion because he's naturally bigger, but you can definitely also swap out the 2 Radions for Videons. All in all, I think this is quite solid, you know, a deck that can take advantage of Machina Fortress. You do need to be a bit wary of Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon. Twice in testing, I did commit an oopsie and passed on Cyber Dragon Boomboxen, only to get my board turned into a 2k Chimera Tech Fortress, and I was very sad. But yeah, in general, it's an absolute blast. This deck will probably be an absolute blast in any time where it exists for me, just because it's an incredibly fun deck that enables so much silliness. Yeah. Again, you know, thanks to Wengatang. I hope you liked this profile. You mentioned that you did see a few lists in the response to my comments. But yeah, this is Edison for Morphtronics. Let me know what you thought of this down below. If you're, you know, playing Edison yourself or something, just leave your thoughts down below. And with all that out of the way, I will thank you guys very much for watching and see you guys again next time. But until then, goodbye.